Let's talk about the kidnappings. Children in Nigeria are being abducted from schools, often hundreds of boys and girls at a time.
More than 300 schoolgirls have been kidnapped.
Young school kids have become bait.
They're taken for ransom. Some of them make it home, but many haven't.
It has now become big business, the fastest growing criminal enterprise in Nigeria.
So who's behind the kidnappings? Why are they still happening? And why have the people in charge failed to stop them? It's hard to get an exact number, but around 700 people have been abducted in Nigeria so far this year. Most of them are school children. And kidnappings happen across the country. In the early 2000s, they were pretty common in the Niger Delta. It's Nigeria's oil region. Armed groups and pirates were kidnapping oil workers there, many of them foreigners.
That was a way that the Niger Delta militants were making money at that time, because there was just a sense that somebody would pay. The embassy would pay, families would pay.
By around 2009, kidnappings were becoming a real problem in the north. That's Boko Haram territory. They're considered a terrorist group, and they're the ones who took the Chibok schoolgirls. Nearly 300 of them were held captive for years. Boko Haram's motive isn't so much money, but ideology. Their name roughly translates as Western education is forbidden.
Bring back! Bring back!
A global campaign attracted celebrities and awareness, but 7 years on, more than 100 are still missing. Violence and mass kidnappings are still happening in those places. But right now, they're expanding to the northwest and central states. Since December, a school is targeted roughly every 3 weeks.
They're
taken into the forest, sometimes they're beaten or worse. In this video, one captive says the kidnappers want a $1 million ransom. Another begs the government not to attempt a rescue.
You have some that have been victims of gender-based violence because they've been raped. Some of them have come back pregnant.
So who are the kidnappers? Locally, they call them bandits, which seems to be an umbrella term for lots of people. Criminal gangs, fighters from Boko Haram, and young men who see an opportunity.
I would say it's more like an organized criminal network that has evolved over time.
The bandits tend to hide out in forests where there's hardly any police, and some of them are heavily armed.
Security sources say anti-aircraft guns were used to open up this gaping hole. Now, behind this wall is a forest that stretches for kilometers to a location where the students are thought to be still held by their captors.
So what's their motivation? Well, the obvious answer is money. Families often can't afford to pay ransoms, but local governments have more money. According to one think tank, reports suggest the Katsina state government paid about $76,000 to recover more than 300 schoolboys abducted last year.
If they are public schools, they're responsibility of the government. So to save face, you see all steps being taken, including negotiation and payment of ransom to get the students back.
Sometimes those negotiations even go so far as offering amnesty. This gang leader kidnapped hundreds of students in Kankara in February. He was pardoned by the governor after his fighters turned in their guns.
Very quickly, we're talking about amnesty then being agreed without dealing with the fact that these are criminals.
You're basically saying to others that it pays to go into crime, wait your time and make sure you don't get caught, and then come out and the government will negotiate with you.
Local officials have also been criticized for the way they're treating rescued children. The UN says they don't get the help they need to deal with their trauma. There have even been times when children who've been freed are forced to sit through elaborate media conferences. sometimes before they're allowed to see their parents. So locally, there are plenty of problems, but these kidnappings don't happen in a vacuum. The Nigerian economy is in terrible shape. Unemployment is high. Corruption is also common, even in the justice system, which makes it hard to hold people accountable. And then there's the security issue. Armed groups like Boko Haram still operate in the north, and security forces in general are underfunded and overstretched. President Buhari says he's working hard to bring an end to these incidents of kidnapping, and that the military and police will continue to go after kidnappers. But there's a lot of frustration.
Clearly, it's systematic. In Nigeria, the security has collapsed, and we are losing hope in the government.
The kidnappings are horrific, but there's also the huge impact on education in Nigeria. Schools are being closed. Parents say they're too afraid to send their kids back. All of this in a country with 10 million boys and girls already out of school. If you're looking for more reporting and analysis on what's happening in Nigeria, Al Jazeera has local journalists on the ground covering the very latest. You'll find it on our website, aljazeera.com. I'll see you next week.